You guys don't know how excited I am to be starting this video because it's my last video before I go to bed and I'm tired. Okay, so before we write our final paragraph, I do want to give you a chance to kind of have this full screen and just give you a chance to pause in case you need any of the answers, in case I went too fast or you're missing something. So if you need any of these boxes, go ahead and push pause now. If you need any of these boxes, go ahead and push pause now. If you need that theme box, go ahead and push pause now. If you need setting and characters, go ahead and push pause now. Events and theme, go ahead and push pause now. All right, let's move on. So we are now at the point where we are about to type our analysis. We are about to fill in the skeleton paragraph that we have. And remember, this is just a fill in the blank. This is just you using my words to help your words sound better. And so you just want to use it as a fill in the blank. And the easiest way to do it is just to read it, listen to it as you're reading it, and then naturally write what should go there in a way that it flows and it makes sense as a cohesive sentence and a cohesive paragraph. If you need to change one or two of my words, that's fine. Do that to make your sentence make sense. So we're just gonna go ahead and get started. The title of my text is, I don't remember the whole thing, sorry. Oops. Come on. How Coyote Came by His Powers. So the title of my text is How Coyote Came About His, came by his powers. Notice my underlining. You could also use quotation marks. It is a title though, so it needs to be separated one way or the other. So the title of my text is How Coyote Came About His Powers, and I believe it was called that because the myth is about, you guessed it, Coyote not being happy with his name, wanting a new name, but being stuck with his. In the process, he is told of his great power and responsibility. A quote from the myth that supports the title of my text is, now I need to find a quote that really goes with what I just said the title and the whole thing was about. The title introduces everything. So there's got to be something in there that really drives home the reason that my myth is titled this. And I think I'm going to come down here and I'm going to use a couple here. So I'm going to use no one wanted to steal your name from you. Or let's say all names having used except your own. And I'm going to go ahead and put that in here. But I'm also going to put in I give you powers to kill these monsters, because that is really, I mean, if the title is about his powers, we have to include something about his powers in our explanation. So, all right. So now we have that. Wonderful. So we keep on reading. And our paragraph says, the myth was written in first, second, or third person point of view. So we have to ask ourselves, Remember, I am number 1, you are number 2, everyone else is number 3. So we have to ask, is Coyote the narrator? Is Coyote telling his own story? No. Is the Great Spirit Chief telling the story? No. Are any other animals telling the story? No. Then this is third person, okay? This is an outside person looking in. Another clue that you have is whether or not there's a lot of I, or he. And in this story, there are a lot of names and there are a lot of he, she, they. And so that's really your clue that it's third person point of view. The only time we have I in this story is when Coyote is talking. And that doesn't really count when we're considering point of view. So we're going to come back to our paragraph. The myth was written in, we're going to erase all that, third person point of view, because the narrator was an insider or an outsider. So again, if it's first person, it's an insider. If it's third person, it's an outsider. So this is just us erasing the wrong part. All right. So we know that it was third person because the narrator was an outsider in the story. An example to prove the point of view is what? So this is just any time that we take a sentence that has proof that the coyote is not the narrator or that the Great Spirit is not the narrator, and we just put it in here. So I can really come over here and take any sentence of this story. I'm just going to go ahead and take this first one. Boom. Notice that it's not saying I called all my people together from all over the earth, because the Great Spirit is not the narrator. It's an outsider watching what's happening. So then we are just going to paste that right in there. The author's main purpose for creating this myth was to inform, explain something, entertain, be entertaining, or persuade, convince. So again, as long as you have proof, you could go in multiple directions. It's probably not persuade. You might be like, inform, entertain, inform, entertain, inform, entertain. And you might be able to prove either one. I'm definitely going to go with inform because I think that's the main purpose of this myth, is to inform us of how Coyote got his powers. So we're going to repeat that here too. The author's main purpose for creating this myth was to inform the reader about how... I really struggle spelling coyote. Got his powers. Do coyotes have powers in real life? No, but it's a myth. The main character's name was Coyote. An adjective to describe this character is that he was. So here we have to come up with an adjective. And they give us, in this particular myth, it's not always going to be this way. Sometimes you're going to have to think of an adjective, right? So I think Coyote is a jerk. I think Coyote is a trickster. I think Coyote is a horrible human being, or a horrible animal. But in this myth, we're actually given many adjectives to describe Coyote. So it tells us that he was of degraded nature, vulgar, an imitator. When he was asked a question, he would say, "Oh, I knew that before." So he's a know-it-all. Even down here it says he was hated. He boasted, and so we have a lot of adjectives to choose from. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of preemptively copy this whole quote because I know I'm going to have to put a quote in there. And then I'm going to come back here and I'm just going to use an adjective. I'm going to say that he was a horrible animal. Horrible was not an adjective used in the text, but that just helps me make my paragraph not repetitive because I can then use the quotes and use all the adjectives in the quote to show why he was a horrible animal. And so that's what I'm going to do right there. I hate it when it's spread out on 2 pages. All right, so now we have our paragraph. It's beautiful, it's complete, and I'm gonna let you pause here so that you can catch up with me because I know that I go fast, so go ahead and pause. All right, and so by now, hopefully you're unpaused or you never paused, and now I'm moving on. So let me just briefly talk about section 4 and 5 with you because I'm not gonna do them with you because they really are your opinion, but you still have to get them done. So section 4 is where you're just going to give this myth a grade. If you were a teacher and this was a myth you were grading, what grade would you give it? A, B, C, D, or F? And be careful what you put here because if you say it's an A, then this is the level that I'm expecting of you. If you say it's an F, then that means you think this is bad and you need to be better than this. So just be honest. What grade would you give it and why? And then when you start to write your own myth, keep that in mind. Section 5 is where I really need you to think. I need you to stop. I need you to slow down. I need you to pump the brakes, and I need you to think. Oftentimes, myths are reused throughout history in different ways for different stories. You ever heard the saying, nothing under the sun is new? Something like that. That basically means that there's only so much newness we can have. We can't keep making up new stories. Every story has been told. And so what we do is we take ancient stories and we just change these ancient stories in such a way that they seem new to us. And so what I want you to do when you get to section 5 is I want you to just really think, has there ever been a story that you've heard of that was kind of similar to this one? I'm not asking for a story that's exactly the same, because they have to change it. Otherwise, it's boring. But is there any story that just kind of has a very similar outline? Somebody trying to sneak and then they fall asleep and then they wake up and they're too late. Is there any story that you've heard as a child or growing up or seen on a TV show or watched in a movie that has a similar premise to it? So that's section 5. So with that, I am done. Make sure that you get this done because on Monday you are getting a new myth with a new myth analysis sheet and you're on your own with that one. I'm not making any more videos for it. So good luck and I will see you later. Where's my mouse so I can stop it? Bye.